Plum blossoms bloom in the middle of February. Both plum and cherry blossoms are of rose family. What does it mean when people say cherry blossoms are for flowers and plums are for branches? Cherry blossoms grow taller than plums, and the flowers bloom densely all together, so the overwhelming beauty of the entire cherry blossom trees can be enjoyed. In comparison, the plum is attractive because of its winding and mossy trunk, as well as the plum blossom branches undulating like a dragon. Bush warbler in a plum tree is a common phrase that is heard often, but what does it mean? It is a phrase that was born from the fact that the warbler perched on a plum blossom's branch makes a perfect picture. It means the two things are in perfect harmony or they are a match made in heaven. There is a rule of Xiaoqiqubei, or pine, bamboo, and plum. Please explain. It is a form of price setting often found in Japanese restaurants. The highest price is the pine, the middle is the bamboo, and the lowest is the plum. The bamboo, which is the middle, sells the most. The ratio is said to be pine equals 2, bamboo equals 5, plum equals 3. It is said that bamboo sells well because people tend to avoid the extremes. It is said that the rule of Xiaoqiqubei is good because there are 3 options. What about if there are 2 options? Why aren't more than 4 options good? When there are 2 options, about 70% of people chooses the cheaper one. Even if there are more than 4 options, it's fine when you order something upon entering the premises, as in the case with restaurants. Nevertheless, for everything else, more and more people will choose the option to leave without choosing anything, if there are more than 4 options. This is because people don't want to use their heads to make choices. There is a phrase saying the idiot that cuts cherry blossoms and doesn't cut plum blossoms. What does it mean? In terms of garden tree pruning, it is better to leave the cherry branches uncut and the plum branches should be cut. The parts of trunks and branches on cherry blossom trees that are cut are likely to rot, but the plum blossom trees recover quickly, so it is fine even to cut fairly thick branches, and pruning is necessary to form the beautiful branches. Speaking of plums, there is a famous song, "O plum blossoms, when the east wind blows, please let the blossoms bloom and send their fragrances, and even I am gone, don't forget the spring is famous." Who wrote the song, and from what era, and where was the person being moved to when the song was being composed? It is a song composed by Sugawara no Michizane in the middle of the Heian period. Because he has excelled in academics and learning, he was able to advance to the position of right minister. However, he was envied by Fujiwara no Takehira, the left minister at the time, and was relegated to Dazaifu for an innocent crime. This was a song that was composed at that time to dedicate to the plum blossoms at Kubaden in Kyoto by Sugawara no Michizane, who really loved plum blossoms. The Dazaifu Tenmangu Shrine, which enshrines Sugawara no Michizane, has a stunning tree that bears white plums and is said to be 1,000 years old. It is considered a sacred tree. There is a legend of the flying plum that is associated with this plum tree. Please tell me the legend of the flying plum. Sugawara no Michizane loved garden trees very much when he was in Kyoto. When Michizane was relegated to Dazaifu and left Kyoto, of all the garden trees that longed for Michizane, the cherry blossoms fell and died of sorrow in the end. Plum and pine had strong feeling to go after Michizane and flew into the sky. However, the pine ran out of gas on the way, and fell around Kobe in Hyogo Prefecture, where it took root, called the Tabematsu Densetsu or flying pine legend. On the other hand, on the same day, it is said that the plum tree, which was the only one remaining, flew to Dazaifu, where the master now lived, and landed there and took root. Sugawara no Michizane is said to be the god of learning, and a large number of test takers visit the Tenmangu shrine to pray for success. Why is Sugawara no Michizane called the god of learning? Sugawara no Michizane has been called a prodigy since childhood. It is said that he recited the following song when he was 5 years old. There is a plum blossom so beautiful and of crimson color that it needs to be put onto the face. After that, he passed difficult exams at very young age and was promoted to the right minister. It is said that Sugara no Michizane, who excelled in both literature and martial arts, was also a man who was innocent and pure and was loved by many people. There are many Tenmangu shrines nationwide, including Kitano Tenmangu in Kyoto, Osaka Tenmangu, and the Zaifu Tenmangu Shrine. There is always a statue of an animal at Tenmangu. What animal is it that is considered the messenger of God? Why is that so? Statue of the lying cow. The reason is that when Sugara no Michizane had passed away, a cow pulling the carriage loaded with his remains, at that time, a cattle carriage was mainstream, suddenly sat down and stopped moving. Since the cow didn't seem to move at all even when whipped or pushed, people thought that Sugara no Michizane wanted the place where this cow stopped moving to be his own graveyard. Also, Sugara no Michizane was born in the year of the ox, and therefore was considered sacred as the messenger of God along with Sugara no Michizane. Many have died as great people, but only a few have been worshipped as gods. Why is Sugara no Michizane worshipped at Tenmangu shrines as a god? After the death of Sugara no Michizane, many ominous incidents and catastrophes occurred in the imperial court. First, Fujiwara no Takehira, who drove Michizane Sugara to relegate, died of illness while still young. Then, the crown prince, the son of Emperor Daigo and the nephew of Fujiwara no Takehira, also died. Furthermore, lightning struck during a meeting in the court, and several of those who drove Michizane to relegate died of burns. From this, rumors spread that this must be the vengeful spirit of Sugara no Michizane, and in order to stop the curse, Sugara no Michizane began to be worshipped as a god. This is the beginning of Tenmangu shrines.